Okay, so I'm making this video to show how to deploy a Flask app with a PostgreSQL database using Heroku and without using SQLAlchemy. I'm making it because I'm on a software development course at the moment, and when I was trying to deploy my first project, I struggled a bit because every example that I could find online used SQLAlchemy. Whereas I didn't in my project. So hopefully this video might be it might be useful to anyone who's using a similar configuration to me and is not using SQLAlchemy. Right, so what you need to start off is your app that you want to deploy. So I've got mine here. A GitHub account with a repository with your app in it. So this is my repository here. You'll need a Heroku account, and also you will need to download the Heroku command line interface. Okay, so I'll just quickly show my file structure in my app. So I've got my app.py on the top level, and then my controllers folder holds all my roots in here. Got my database here with run SQL.py and my file that creates all my tables for the database. Then I've got models, repositories, and yeah, my HTML and CSS here, and then my Flask env file. Okay, so first thing that we need to do is go to our Heroku account, click new up here, and create new app. So I'm gonna call mine Flask app for video. Okay, and create app. Okay, perfect. Now here we need to choose our deployment method, and we're going to stay with Heroku Git. The first time I tried to do it, I started by connecting to GitHub because it seemed like a simple way to do it. But I encountered problems later when I was trying to create tables in my database. So I think it's easier actually to start off just using the command line interface. Okay, so I'm going to go to my terminal and log in to Heroku. Okay. So this will come up and you just need to click log in. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so I'm now logged in. And here it has instructions to go into your project and initialize it. Mine's already initialized, so I just need to use this line here. Okay, perfect. And then to deploy the application, it has some instructions here. My repository is already up to date, so I don't need to git add or git commit. I can just go straight to git push Heroku master. And I actually think now I need to use git push Heroku main because it's changed. So let's try this. Okay, perfect. So we've got a problem here, and the reason for this is because my app doesn't have something called a requirements.txt file. So we need a requirements file to tell Heroku what packages need to be installed. So we're going to go back to our code and create a requirements.txt. Okay. I'll just load up a terminal in here as well. Okay, so this is going to tell Heroku what packages need to be installed when it's trying to deploy our app. Something we will also need for this is an application server called Gunicorn. So I've already installed this previously for my other project, but I'll just show. This is the code. I need to use pip3 on my system, but it might just be pip install for you. So pip install Gunicorn. Okay, yeah, so mine's telling me it's already installed, so that's fine. And if you don't have it installed, that should install it. And now we need to populate our requirements file with all the things that need to be installed. So pip3 freeze, and then this more than sign requirements.txt. Okay, and as you can see, it's come up with all my packages. There's things here that you won't need that I have installed, perhaps for other reasons or other projects. But yeah, we need Gunicorn in there. Okay, so now let's go back to a terminal here. I'll keep it separate from the one in my app, and try to push to Heroku again. So I'm gonna add and commit my requirements file. And then do a git push Heroku min and see what happens. Okay, so it's started building, which is a good sign. Okay, so I'll just wait for that to happen. Okay, so verifying deploy done. So let's check what's happening up here. If we click on open app. Okay, we've got an application error. So what's happening here is that if we go back to our overview, we can see that, so we've got our first build that failed, and then we added the requirements file. The second build has succeeded and has been deployed. So it looks like it should be working. But we got an application error because we don't have anything, even though we have the code up on Heroku and the build has succeeded, we don't have anything to start the server for us. So for this, we need to make something called a proc file. So let's go back to our codes. And in here, we need to create a proc file. So it needs to be capitalized. So like so. Okay, and then in here, we're going to type, so web, so this is the type of worker, which for us is a web worker. Gunicorn, which is our application server. And then we need to tell Gunicorn where our app is. So for me, my app is here in app.py. So for example, if your app.py was instead called bananas.py, you would have bananas here. Okay, so that's just telling Gunicorn where our app is. Okay, so now let's commit that and try again. So get add on. And while this is happening, you can see in your overview tab on Heroku, you can see build in progress. And also for more information, if you click on more and view logs, and it gives you information on what's happening, and if there's any errors, it's really useful here. Okay, so it's saying build succeeded and deployed. So let's open it up and see what happens. Okay, so we can now see the app. So everything is looking good. So let's give it a test. So here I want to create a new language. Okay, so this should add a language to my language table in the database. So I'm going to add Italian and submit. And we've got an internal server error. This is because we haven't actually added our database yet. So for this, we need to go back to our Heroku dashboard, and in the add-ons here, we need to click Configure Add-ons. And down here, we're going to search Heroku Postgres and select Hobby Dev Free and submit order form. Okay, so we've got our database attached on the dashboard. So if you click, so there I just clicked on Heroku Postgres here, and it will give us some details about our database. It might just take a second to load. Okay, so we can see here we have, this is our database info, we've got 0 tables, 0 rows, etc. Okay. And now if we go into our settings and then down to config vars and reveal config vars, here in this box you can see this is our database URL. So this is what we'll need to connect to. If you okay, so now we need to go back to our code again. Okay. And we're going to have to add the database connection. So I'm going into my database folder and into the run SQL file. To make it quicker, I have copied and pasted some of the code in previous to recording this video and just commented it out. So we need to, currently I have it connected to my database that I have locally. But we need to connect it to the one on Heroku. So first we have to import OS up at the top. And we'll need this line here. So our database URL equals, and this will get our database URL from our Heroku account. I could delete that one, it's not necessary. And down here, instead of this line, so we can get rid of this line, we need this one. Okay, so all this will do is connect to the URL that's in our account on Heroku for our database. Okay, so now what we're going to do is push that again. Okay, so that's building again. So I'll go back on here and we can watch on here. Oh, one more thing is to test that your proc file has been detected. It should say here in the dynos, it should have your web unicorn app. Okay, so that's deployed. So let's open the app. Okay, so let's try again. Trying to add Italian again. Okay, and we've got the same problem again. So the reason why we have this problem is that we have our database now connected, but we've not actually created any tables in our database. So I'm trying to add a language and there's not a language table. So what we need to do for this is I need to find a way to run my linguistapps.sql, which creates all the tables for me. Okay, so to do this, we need to go to our terminal. You can do it in here or here. I'm just mainly using this for no particular reason. Okay, so first we'll type Heroku PG info and -- app, and then the name of your app. So for me, it was Flask app for video. Flask app for video. So this is the name of the app on Heroku. Okay, so what we need from this information is our database name, the kind of database that we've got. So now we need to type Heroku PG, I'll just make this a little bigger, PG:PSQL, and the name of our database. So I'll just copy and paste that here. Okay, then -- app, and then the name of our app again, so Flask app for video. And then you need to tell it which file to run. So we need to run the linguistsnaps.sql file. So because mine's within a folder, I need to do db/ to get inside the folder, and then linguistsnaps.sql. Okay, so brilliant. Okay, so it's created a table. It's got some errors because at the start of my file I dropped the tables, but now it's created the tables. Okay, so that looks good. So let's go back to our app and see what's happening. Dun, dun, dun. New language, Italian. Okay, and success, it's worked. So we've got our Italian language. Create a new snap. So let's say hi and ciao. Okay, brilliant. So it's added our snap to the database. And now we can edit it or delete it or play. So I'll delete it. Yep. And everything's working. Fantastic. And if you now go on your Heroku dashboard and click on your database dashboard, we can see now that it's got 5 tables. Okay, so everything's working as it should be. And we didn't have to push that last this bit of code here. This was just to run the SQL file. You don't actually have to push after you've done that. So yeah, I hope that was useful, and thanks. Goodbye.